Hola mi gente, my name is Opai Senpai and I am here today with the expert of timelines, the man himself, Qaaman. What's up, brother?
Alrighty, guys, it is Qaaman here today, and feel free to just call me Quinn, Opai
Yeah.
Senpai.
Alrighty, Quinn. So this guy is the expert when it comes to timelines. He did the ultimate timeline video that was like 45 minutes long. Incredible. But he's doing an update. What, Christmas Day you're gonna
Yes,
release
sir, on the 25th.
on the 25th. Guys, the
But I have to
25th.
make some adjustments because this just came out now, so unfortunately.
Yeah, we got an update. So, and by the way, guys, after the stream is over, Quinn is gonna have a video that I was a guest on his channel talking about the motivation of Goku and other characters. So make sure you guys watch that after the stream is over. But let's begin. So, Herms98 on Twitter did the translations for the updated chart on the Future Trunks timeline. So we have from the Future Trunks timeline, we have 4 timelines, and obviously there's more timelines that exist, but they're focusing on these 4 right now. Okay, and you guys can see on the screen, and we'll take questions at the end. By the way, guys, we'll take questions. But right here we have the history where Zamasu is alive. We have our main timeline, the one where Future Trunks lives. Which, by the way, that timeline was destroyed. Well, not the timeline. We'll show you in a second. And then the new one that was hinted at, and then we have more confirmation there. So let's actually, before we begin, I want to show them a little something that I found interesting. If we scroll down and we zoom into this, we got confirmation. Goku calls future Omni King, who destroys Zamasu, along with the entire future universe. Goku and Co return to the original era. So it seems to me, I don't know if you agree, but it seems to me that the whole timeline wasn't destroyed, just the universe from that timeline. What do you think?
Yes. Yes, I think that's exactly what it's trying to pretty much say. That was a great translation by Herms.
Thank you, Herms. And another thing that I found interesting is right over here, they call it the Sword of Light. So Future Trunks slices Merge Zamasu in 2 with a Sword of Light, and they're capitalizing Sword of Light. So it's almost like that's the title like that they're giving it, which I guess makes sense. It's the common sense title. I don't know. What did you call it? Something differently if you could, like a Genki Dama sword or something.
Bro, I mean, that move was so random, bro. Like, I think that's probably the best thing they could have come up with, honestly.
For real. Okay, and let's continue. Let's move up. And this is live, by the way, guys. So if you're new to the channel, we do this pretty often, and definitely check it out. The history where Zamasu is alive. Okay, so can you explain for the folks what is going on here? Why is there a timeline over here that corresponds to this timeline over here?
Alright, so pretty much in essence, guys, and you're probably going to get a much more thorough explanation when I do my theory video, but pretty much the way it works is that green timeline is pretty much the timeline that Future Trunks comes from. And after all of the events of Dragon Ball Super with, Zeno and Zamasu pretty much nuking Earth, what happens is that timeline to the left in gold, the future history where Zamasu is sealed 17 years hence, that's pretty much a timeline that was now created as a result of the timeline that obviously Trunks and Mai escaped, and they're going into that timeline to branch out history where they're going to be pretty much a duplicate of themselves. That's the new timeline that they're going into, and they're updating it with this.
Yes, and they also did confirm that Wiz did follow through with his promise. So the history of Future Trunks prevents Zamasu's attack from ever happening. Now there are 2 sets of Trunks and Mai. And as we scroll down to around here, Future Trunks and Mai return to the future before Zamasu attacks. Wiz asks Beerus to zeal Zamasu away. And in fact, he does zeal him away. So he did follow through with that, even though we never see it happen on the show. It was just kind of hinted at. And now,
Yes.
Can you explain this one? Because this one I feel is like the most complicated one to understand for the folks.
Okay. This is by far the most... Okay, guys, so there are multiple ways to explain this. You have Toyotaro, you have Toei, and you have my explanation. Now, my explanation, I'll save that for the video. But pretty much the way it works is that Toyotaro's explanation is very clear and concrete. What he states is that what happens in there, okay, pretty much to sum this up, guys, there's two main timelines. I know it's BS, guys, but there's a main timeline in which Zamasu managed to steal Goku's body, and there's obviously the main timeline that we're in where he obviously did not manage to steal his body. If you go by Toyotaro's explanation, Opai, the way it works is that Zamasu gains knowledge of Goku through obviously observing him through the Universe 6 tournament and all of that senses, and he is self-aware about Goku and goes on to take his body. So his explanation makes perfect sense. And by doing that, Zamasu pretty much takes his body, steals the time rings, does all of that shenanigans, and goes into the future. So that one is actually fine by its own. He's literally just explaining that Zamasu was self-aware about Goku without any other intervention. If you go by Toei's timeline, excuse my language, it's extremely fucked up and it makes absolutely no sense. But I'm going to try to explain. I'm going to explain to you the nonsensical sense of their no fucking sense.
Right.
What their theory is that as a result of a time loop, okay, what happens is that Black randomly shows up in Trunks' time. It's a loop, so there's no initial point. I'm just explaining this to make it easier. So Black randomly shows up in Trunks' time in the future. So that Black would show up in what would be, Opie, if you scroll up, or Black would show up in the green timeline. So he randomly shows up in green. As a result of this, Trunks goes back in time. As a result of Trunks going back in time, Black follows Trunks. As a result of, obviously not being self-aware of everything, the loop continues where there's always going to be a Trunks going back in time. There's always going to be a Goku Black, not being, confronted, and he takes Goku's body and goes to the future. Now, it's much more complex than that, but long story short, Goku talking and interacting with Zamasu pretty much led to an effect of Goku Black going to the future. So it's all a loop. So Trunks going to the Goku Black showing up sends Trunks to the past. Trunks going to the past forces Goku Black to follow him to the past. Goku Black following Trunks to the past forces them to go check out Zamasu, and them checking out Zamasu causes Zamasu to get the time rings and go into the future. Now, what doesn't make any sense is the fact that how did that timeline just get created? Well, their explanation that makes no sense is that as a result of all of this time loop shenanigans, what happens is that Beerus, how he separates that timeline, as you see all the way to the right, Opie, how he separates that timeline where Zamasu supposedly gets his body from the main timeline is that Beerus breaks the loop and gains self-awareness about Zamasu. So pretty much what happens is you have one timeline where as a result of loops, everything just keeps happening over and over again. And you have one where Beerus breaks it and causes our main timeline because he gains self-awareness about Zamasu. Now, using some headcanon and theory, even though they didn't say it, is that what caused the break of the loop is that the loop was continuous until Beerus gained self-awareness about Zamasu's intentions. So literally history was repeating itself infinitely until Beerus gained self-awareness of what Zamasu was trying to do. So in the initial main timeline where Goku died and his body was stolen, what happened is that the Z Fighters and Whis and Beerus, they were completely unaware of Zamasu's intentions. But in the main timeline that we know, they gained awareness about his intentions after Goku went to confront him. I'm sorry, they gained awareness after Goku confronted him, and that's how they deviated history. Sorry if I sounded like the most complex thing in the world, but I tried my absolute best. My video is going to make 10 times more sense of this. I promise you guys.
When is your video coming out again?
We're not on the 25th.
Oh, the 25th. All right, and that's going to go more into detail on these timelines, but not just these, but also the ones that we haven't spoken about, the unseen timelines and the other ones that pretty much are going to cover everything. It's going to be like the most in-depth video out there on the timelines for Dragon Ball Super. So I'm really excited for that. Make sure you guys subscribe to Qaaman. I have a link in the description, and I will have it in the comments pinned This guy has almost 200,000 followers. He's a great YouTuber. Amazing analysis for Super. Now, now that you've explained this, let's take a few minutes to take some fan questions. So, guys, hit me up on Snapchat, and you guys can ask Qaaman a question related to the timeline. Oh, we got one to work. What's
Okay.
up, brother?
You alright?
Yep. Welcome, brother. You got a question?
Alright, my question is basically in Dragon Ball Z, don't you remember when Trunks went back in time? That was the first initial time loop caused for Super.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's your...
Yeah, so basically what I'm saying is the fact that he went back in time the first time to kill Frieza, that's what they're relating to, because they even said that in one of the episodes saying that, oh, you going back, saving Goku's life caused me. Do you not remember that?
All right. Kwame's gonna answer that.
Okay. All right, bro. All right. So, to simplify this, I guess best, the way it works is that there are two future Trunkses that have existed in the whole realm of Dragon Ball time travel, right? So, in essence, there was originally a future Trunks who was from Cell's timeline. He went to a timeline that's referred to the unseen timeline that exists in theory, and it has to exist because he went there and the Z Fighters mentioned this. So that created an unseen timeline. What happens is that Cell killed him, took his time machine, and then created our time machine, created our timeline, and then Cell after he created our timeline, then Trunks, another future Trunks, came to our timeline as a preset to what was already supposed to happen. So there are two future Trunkses, and the reason is because you remember Cell killed Trunks and he took his time machine, so that's obviously a different Trunks from the one that went back to his future. So I hope that kind of simplifies, the whole events that Trunks did. The events of Super aren't really connected to what happened in Z.
Right. Makes sense. And I think we're gonna end it there, guys. I'm not receiving any more calls. So hey, man, Qaaman, I really appreciate you joining us, man. And
No
I'm
problem.
really looking forward to that video you're gonna do. It's gonna be epic. Your updated video on Christmas Day. It's gonna be a nice little gift for everybody. So I appreciate
Yes.
it. Guys, check out Qaaman. The link is in the description and the comment section. And I will see you guys tomorrow.